On July 1st of this year, Governor Gavin Newsom announced the launch of the California Judicial Mentor Program, a statewide undertaking between the executive and judicial branches to advance the shared goal of an inclusive judiciary that reflects California's diversity. Comprised of an Appellate Court Mentor Program and a Trial Court Mentor Program, the initiative aims to demystify the appellate and trial court application process and improve transparency and accessibility for all members of the legal community throughout California, fostering the development of a qualified and diverse judicial applicant pool. We are very fortunate to have Judge Paul A. Bacigalupo, the California Judicial Mentor Program Executive Committee Chair, and Co-Chair Judge Erica Yu, representing medium and large counties, join us for the summit today to tell us more about this groundbreaking statewide program. Judge Paul A. Bacigalupo was elected to the Los Angeles County Superior Court in 2002. He has been assigned to the Van Nuys Courthouse since 2014, conducting civil trials and mandatory settlement conferences. Prior to becoming a judge, he practiced public and private construction law, immigration law, and was a founding attorney, mediator, and arbitrator at the Jams and Dispute Los Angeles and Santa Monica offices. Judge Bacigalupo is a former president of the California Judges Association, founding co-chair of CJA's Judicial Fairness Coalition and Mindfulness and Wellness Committee, chair of CJA's Strategic Plan Work Group, and former chair of CJA's Elections Committee. He's a member of the California Latino Judges Association and founding chair of its Judicial Applicant Support Committee. Judge Bacigalupo is the elected co-chair of the Judicial Branch's Bench Bar Coalition, a former member of the Judicial Council of California, is a special master with the Commission on Judicial Performance and former chair of the Judicial Branch Access, Ethics, and Fairness Curriculum Committee. He is on the Wiccan Judicial College faculty and has designed, developed, and presented courses for the Center for Judicial Education and Research, and is a member of the National Implicit Bias Network. Governor Gray Davis appointed Judge Erica R. Yu, a San Jose native, to the Santa Clara County Superior Court on October 2nd, 2001. Judge Yu is the first Asian American female to serve on this bench. She was unanimously appointed by the California Supreme Court to the Committee on Judicial Ethics Opinions on May 1st, 2019. She served on the California Commission on Judicial Performance, or CJP, from December 2010 to April 2019, and chaired CJP for 2.5 years. From 2019 to 2012, she was a member of the Judicial Council and served on the Judicial Council's Advisory Committee on Providing Access and Fairness from 2014 to 2021. Judge Yu currently serves on the California Access to Justice Commission, for which she co-chairs the Racial Justice and Intersectionality Committee. She's a board member of the National Center for State Courts and an incumbent member of the Executive Board for the California Judges Association. It is my honor to welcome to our virtual summit stage Judge Bacigalupo and Judge Yu. Thank you so much for being with us and joining us today.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tanaka. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, Greg.
I want to emphasize something that Ms. Nye said. It is not who you know, but who you are. And I want to just keep that in your minds as we make our presentation today, because that's kind of the backdrop about why this program came to fruition and what it's all about. There's two audiences that Judge Yu and I would like to speak to today. One is the audience where there are bench officers who may be mentors or who could participate in the outreach aspect of this program. And the other are attorneys who may be interested in becoming a judge and would like to apply to the bench or be involved in the outreach programs, because it requires a synergy between these two communities in order for us to broaden and strengthen the number of individuals who can apply to become a judge. And Ms. Nye was talking about diversity, which is the focus of this summit, and it's been a wonderful summit. It's been a pleasure, and it's my honor to participate in this and to listen and to all the wisdom that so many people have been sharing over the past month in these different presentations. And our governor, when he talks about diversity, and when the appointment secretary, Luis Cespedes, talks about diversity, it's used in its broadest definition, in its broadest way, to include all practice areas of the law, to include individuals who have had different life experiences, who come from different economic backgrounds, who are individuals who are underrepresented right now within the legal profession or on the bench, because that is what reflects all of California. And I want to take a moment and read to you what the mission statement is of this program. The program fulfills the shared goal between the executive and judicial branches to promote access to justice and public trust and confidence through a diverse and inclusive judiciary that embraces and reflects all of California's people. The program will work with all sectors of the legal community to support and encourage individuals interested in a trial or an appellate court appointment. Participation in the program is not a prerequisite to or a guarantee to an appointment. The program came about in July of 2020 when Justice Martin Jenkins, former appointment secretary, was sharing with a few others about his concern on the depth of the applicant pool and the lack of diversity that was reflective of that group. And he promoted and encouraged then the development of this judicial mentor program. And what's fascinating about this program is it has two components: trial court and appellate court. So for the first time, probably ever in this state's history, we are pulling back the veil and the mystery, if you will, on the appellate appointment process. And likewise, the main goal and objective of the trial court judicial mentor program is to demystify the process, so that when there is pairing and matching between mentors and mentees, the mentor is not there to vet an applicant. It's not there to serve as a gatekeeper, as has been done perhaps in the past in some jurisdictions. Rather, it is to help the applicant find out who they are, who is their best voice, how can they put together the very best application possible, so that when they hit that button to hit send to the governor's office, it's then up to the governor's office to do the vetting, right? But it's the mentor's role to be involved in that lawyer's life, to present the very best case that they possibly can. And it's a very rich experience, because it's rich both for the mentor to see the growth and development of someone. I mean, just think about it. How many mentors have been in your life? I've had plenty throughout my entire life, and I still have mentors, and I still need mentors. You know, people who I look up to, people who I admire, people who I can take direction from, people who can give me guidance, right? Who can help teach me. And this is what the role of this program is to do, is to pair and match. And so what we've done is we've created a statewide program that is now virtually it's coming to fruition in nearly every county throughout the state. And we've designed it in a way where some counties have their standalone program, and there are others that are having regional programs. For example, there's the Bay Area Regional Program, San Francisco, San Mateo, Alameda, Contra Costa County. All right, and you have, I participated in the lunchtime meeting today with they call it the tri-counties. You got Ventura, Santa Barbara, and San Luis Obispo. You have courts in Central California that are coming together, the Inland Empire, the courts that are way up in Northern California, the rural courts, sometimes referred to as the cow counties, those are coming together in a program so that we can share resources, share judges who can be involved in various programs. And it's pretty exciting. This has all happened within 6 months. But what do we need to do? We need to develop a pipeline. We need a pipeline so that when there is a vacancy, there can be a smooth transition from the applicant pool, and the judicial appointment secretary will have those individuals to vet and go through the various committee processes that is necessary for the vetting. But there's another major point here that has to be made, and that is we need to work on the pipeline. And that's where the outreach piece is so important. We have to get the word out to all these various communities and individuals, both in the public and private sectors, so that they have access to the opportunity to apply to become a judge. And that involves then collaboration with our bar associations, with our affinity groups, with law firms, with government agencies, on and on, so that the word can get out, so that people who in the past may have felt like, I'm just going to self-select. I'd never make it. They would never appoint me. I only have 2 trials, somebody might say. That, that I would never, because when I look at that daunting application, it asks, how many trials have you had? Well, what if you don't have jury trials? Well, you shouldn't be intimidated by that. But, and here's something else that's very fascinating when I talk to so many women judges, and that is, I never thought about applying to be a judge because, I was busy raising a family. I was busy doing with childcare. And so how could I answer those questions about, describe all of the community service and the bar associations that you're involved in and your writing and all of your scholarship, all these sorts of things, right? So please don't self-select out. Just be the best person who you are and submit that application. And I wanted to turn it over now to Judge Yu, and she's going to have some observations about the program. And we do want to encourage you to write any notes and put them in the chat, or I don't know how you're handling that, if it's going to come through our moderator, but go ahead.
If you put questions in the chat, I will keep an eye on the chat and try to answer as I go. But I understand that there's really not a place to have people state their own questions, although Greg may be able to interject them. I wanted to just take a step back and congratulate the Judicial Council and California Lawyers Association, the Affinity Bars and CJA on just this really wonderful judicial summit. I was at the first one in 2006 in San Jose, and it's so nice to see that this is now remote and so many more people can attend. At the first one, it was really mostly judges in the audience. And so it's so good to see a wide range of the community represented among those who are attending. And then also really to just say thank you to Judge Bacigalupo. He has led this effort for C-Jump, California Judicial Mentor Program, which is now becoming C-Jump because you can jump up, and move up. And he is doing this tirelessly. I mean, he really lives and breathes this and is all over the state. And really, we would not have been able to achieve so much in the 6 months if it had not been for Judge Bacigalupo's energy and heart and nudging us and emails late at night. So thank you, Judge Bacigalupo. So Judge Todd Bakke and I co-chaired the trial court part of this mentoring program. And then, as you may have heard, Justice Bacigalupo mentioned Justice Jenkins on the Supreme Court, Justice Lee Edmond down south, and Judge Terry Jackson, who was the first African-American female ever to sit in San Francisco Superior Court, and now is a presiding justice in her division in the first district. They are the justices working on the appellate process. I also really found that that comment that was made about becoming a judge should not be about who you know, that just resonated with me so much, because the process has in the past been relatively shrouded in mystery. You know, I mean, the JSAC was called the secret committee until that was changed by Governor Newsom. We applied, but we didn't really know what happened and where things would go. And so lifting that veil, having transparency so that anyone can access this judicial mentoring program, whether you're from a diverse community or not. And diversity is broadly defined as subject matter, age, geography, all of that, including race, ethnicity, gender, preference, everything. I think that that is so important. Part of why it is so important is that we have found in the past that there are situations, and we mentioned this briefly last week, that judges who come from a diverse background may have been appointed to a seat, and then that seat goes up for election and they may be challenged and they may even lose their jobs. And we know of judges who are challenged specifically for their surname that is not a traditional, Western surname. And so the outreach to make sure that people who are interested, who would want to do this and get mentored through the process is so important, not only to encourage people to participate and to apply, but also to help them feel supported and make connections to others in the community who can be there to support them once they even have the job. So Judge Bacigalupo mentioned that there's these regional groups, and they've actually, they were put together partly to help the smaller counties. There are counties, as some of you may know, where there's basically just 2 bench officers. For example, in my region, which is Santa Clara County, San Benito, Santa Cruz, and Monterey. San Benito is a 2-judge county, but right now there's only 1 judge sitting. The other seat is vacant and is filled by an assigned judge. So this 1 judge who's been on the bench for 2 years basically has so much to handle. And also, I understand from him, there aren't a lot of people applying for the bench from his county. So these regional groups can come together where Monterey has agreed to, and Santa Clara may be willing to host this information on their webpage or help San Benito's webpage come up to speed. And just kind of, if maybe judges feel uncomfortable mentoring a lawyer who appears in front of them regularly, a judge in the neighboring county can do some mentoring to help through the process, because the process throughout the state is very similar, so that information can be shared. There are also some counties that I've learned that don't even have a bar association, much less affinity bar associations, to make that outreach and to help. So I have found that in talking to people, and I've been on the bench for next month 20 years, and I have done quite a bit of mentoring, that a lot of this mentoring has happened informally, ad hoc, in an unorganized, unified way. But it really was about, was someone brave enough to just cold call a judge and ask for help? Or did somebody know somebody, or somebody knew somebody who knew somebody? And so now there's just openness. And it's part of what we're experiencing in our society at large, that there's more openness, more information, more transparency. So it's really very exciting. I'd encourage you to put questions in the chat if you have any. I don't see any so far. And I'm going to check in with Greg to see if he has any questions, and Judge Bacigalupo if he wants to add anything.
Any questions, Greg?
There is one that we might have a couple minutes to address. Let me just go.
I see it. Any
plans for mentor program aimed at those who have already submitted judicial applications?
I'll be happy to respond to that one.
And I can add too. Right.
So the spirit of this program is to assist and mentor an individual who has not submitted an application. And frankly, the spirit of the parameters of the relationship will end when the applicant submits the application. However, a lot of people have submitted an application and they may be wondering, well, I haven't had any traction on this. What's going on? What can I do? And they are welcome to submit a supplement or something new and different to the governor's office. But the mentor program will not play a role in that process. However, what we've been doing, and I do want to take just a moment and also acknowledge my Los Angeles colleagues who are also going to be speaking today, who are both in the leadership in the Los Angeles mentor program, as well as serving as mentors. And it's been a pleasure and an honor to work with them on this program. But what a big piece of it is this community outreach. And what we do is we conduct workshops. And so in a workshop, for example, you could have a noontime meeting through a bar association, and you would have some judges get into a room with, let's say, 8 individuals, and have a roundtable conversation and discussion about the process, which can include what to do and how to do tips after you've submitted an application. So that's one of the ways that we've been able to address this. And I might add as well that I know a number of the affinity judicial groups also have mentoring programs, and I think that they—
I can jump in on that.
Yeah, go ahead. You add to that part.
Yes, so I'm the co-chair of the California Asian Pacific American Judges Association Mentor Program. And many of the affinity judicial associations, as well as the affinity bar associations, have programs that help. I know the Affinity Asian American Bar Association does have some processes to assist people and provide information and provide some of that transparency and support. So for example, the Kapaja mentor program has 4 components. One is for people who want to apply. One is for new judges. One is for judges who are maybe changing assignments and they want to have mentoring in a different or new subject matter area. And one is for judges who want to learn to fill more leadership roles. And so if you are connected to a affinity bar or judicial association, that might be a way to reach out. And also, I think most judges, I know for myself, when people reached out to me, I was willing to help and answer questions. In addition to what Judge Bacigalupo said, I would encourage you to try to reach out. Hopefully those coming after you who have not submitted their application will be able to benefit from the various different region and county C-JUMP programs. But until then, just try to seek that help. And then there's also some comments in the chat, like counties north of Sacramento don't do formal mentoring, but they may have some informal mentoring. I'm going to just offer to reach out to me, and I can see if I can answer any questions you may have just about the process itself or connect you to someone in your area. I'm willing to do that. So I will put my email address in the chat if people are interested. I will sort of, just assuring Judge Bacigalupo, not use my C-JUMP hat, but just use my Erica U hat to help those who have already had their application in.
Thank you. And I see there is another question from someone who's troubled by the belief that in terms of mentoring in, we'll call them the rural counties north of Sacramento, and the level of diversity and how to break into that community. I can tell you, because I've participated in these meetings with all of the PJs, I've made presentations to all of the presiding judges in California and have then had smaller meetings. And we're blessed that Judge Todd Botke from Tehama is one of the co-chairs of the mentorship program. And he is focusing on that community in Northern California. All of the PJs are on board with this mentoring program. They all are embracing the notion that they want to broaden diversity. And so they are going to work their hardest. But as I said earlier, it's a collaborative effort. We need to have the pool. And so we need to have lawyers who are in those areas, who are practicing, willing to submit their applications. We need to find them. So please help us to find them. Help us with the outreach. That's the goal, and that's the objective of what we're trying to accomplish. Informal mentoring. Well, I'm sure there is a lot of informal mentoring. This is a formal program. And as I said at the outset, it's not a requirement to apply. And, you know, and I will also add that the Judicial Appointment Secretary does not know if you have participated in this program and does not want to know, right? That would be an unfair advantage. So there is that kind of confidentiality that we maintain, which is important for the respect of everyone involved.
Thank you so much, Judge Bacigalupo and Judge Yu. I think that's all the time we'll have, unfortunately, for Q&A today. But thank you so much for your leadership and heading the California Judicial Mentor Program and helping our judiciary make the jump to use Judge Yu's acronym to truly mirroring the wonderful diversity of the communities